Hunt. I'm the Member of Parliament for Stoke-on-Trent Central, and as the debate begins to sort of quicken up about the pros and cons of High Speed 2 and the particularities of any route which goes beyond Birmingham up to Manchester, I thought it would be a good idea just to have a public meeting to air some of the thinking about this project. And we're enormously lucky this evening to have an all-star panel to discuss the pros and cons of High Speed 2.
From a little village called Colwich, Great Haywood, Little Haywood, and we are going to be seriously blighted by this. This is the human angle. This is the bit that nobody's discussed today. Right? Everybody's been talking about the benefits of Stoke, the benefits of all the other places, but on the one side of our village, we've already got the West Coast Main Line. It already exists there. Through the centre of our village, we've already got the A51. Now they're looking to plan to put the HS2 right on the other side of that. So we're going to be sandwiched between the West Coast Main Line and the HS2. Now, it's going to destroy our village. For other people in other communities to make money, to have a fast trip, we are going to be blighted. Not just for a day, not just for a minute, not just for a week, but for decades and decades until it degrades and they decide to do something else.
I think it should be in our city. It should be in our city. And the reason I say that, and I've heard people talking very vaguely about Europe, but just look, if you look at the benefits there has been in Lille, in northeastern France, and it is part of, somebody mentioned about a built-up area where there's no, one of the comments down here was just built up area. It is, but what it's done, it was a post-industrial city in 2000, right? Their textile industries had gone in Roubaix and Tourcoing and places like that. They'd gone. There was massive unemployment, but they had the vision to say, we require the Eurostar stop in Lille, and it has regenerated that area massively.
And it is clearly obvious that at the present time, the entire lifeblood of the world is based on diesel oil. And that diesel oil is somewhere, we hope, in the ground. And if it ain't in the ground at the moment, we're apparently going to be drilling in the North Atlantic to find it, and in every other continental shelf, including the Arctic. We've got to do that in order to try and keep this present system going. And I just cannot understand how anybody who knows how the price of diesel is going up, that you think that this will continue into the future, that we'll just have unlimited amounts of diesel to keep these huge lorries going up and down the motorway, keeping us supplied with food. Now, unfortunately, you know, I'm running out of time, but this principle of a railway based on electricity is the most sensible use of our resources.
What we want in Staffordshire is investment. Yes, we do, of course we do. But we want investment in industry. That high-speed rail isn't going to bring us out of a recession, as my colleague said on the stage there. We need investment in industry. We're the finest engineers in the world. What do we produce? We've got in the potteries, finest pottery manufacturers in the world. Where's that gone to? That's where we need the investment to start to bring this country out of recession. And then let's look at the other alternatives of high-speed rail, because there's another implication there. That is going to affect the smaller independent companies that run rail services. There would be a reduction in their services. So there's more to it than just saying, let's keep up. We need to do this because other countries are doing. This is Britain, this is Great Britain, this is England. Let's stay that way.
The capital and operating costs of this line, this HS2 line, will be 44.3 billion. Page 54 on the prospectus. It won't stop at Stoke. I don't think it'll ever stop at Stoke. Instead, we could have, we could reopen our old lines, old stations, at a fraction of the cost.
Anyone who's done the sort of, I call it the Euston Run, that scramble when you're at Euston Station for your platform to come up, and then 300 of you charge a million miles an hour to get a seat. The West Coast Main Line is getting quite busy, almost full to capacity. I've been doing a little bit of research into this. Lord Adoni said that to upgrade the West Coast Main Line will cost lots, just as much as the high-speed rail link, and will not produce the same amount of capacity. So that doesn't seem like the obvious solution. I was late tonight because the M42 was closed. We've been having the M6 widening. I worked on the cost-benefit analysis back in 1995, the M6 widening. The roads are full to capacity anyway. So my question is to somebody, if we don't do something to increase capacity and the means to communicate, how are we going to expand our economy? And I know the argument for broadband and stuff, but in the end, I think many business people in this room will agree that human contact is still incredibly important for business. And so we have got to do something, and haven't heard many solutions.
My question is a very technical and detailed point, which I don't know whether you'd be able to answer. But given the fact that on question time for the last 18 months, every time a government minister gets in a flutter about the deficit, we hear 120 million being paid down on the debt, the interest on the debt alone. When we've had EMA abolished, future job funds scrapped, and tuition fees trebled, how can we actually physically afford to pay for anything on a train line? I know that there's extra things that the government have paid for, like AV, but that sounds to me like a political luxury. Is this actually going to give us any benefits, really, when we can fly?
I really wonder if we've got the vision right here, because if you increase the speed of a train from 200 kilometres an hour to 350 kilometres an hour, it means you have a 90% increase in energy consumption. And in exchange for this, the station-to-station journey time is cut by less than 25%. And the most important journey time is the door-to-door journey time, and that's cut by much less.
Do that, it's an opportunity to demonstrate to the world that we have the best engineers in the world by producing an absolute gold standard piece of civil engineering for the 21st century and beyond.
In favour of High Speed 2, for all its, for better for worse, please raise your hands. And all those against.